For my fourth installment of the slave stories, I'm going to be talking about Charles Posse, and how he was treated under this white, blue-eyed, blonde devil known as Gum Threat. Now, this is one of the more expansive examples. There's not a lot. There's not nearly as much information known about Gum Threat as there is others like John W. Pace, McCree, George Cosby, or Fletcher Turner. But there is this story, this horrific, downright sadistic story of what he did to a man, to the levels of humiliation, just dehumanization that he partook on this man. It's truly sickening. It started with him standing above him on the edge of his porch. Started kicking him under the jaw until you could audibly hear his neck. An eyewitness literally said you could hear his neck pop. He fell to the ground and kicked around like he was dying. He was being beaten to the door of death. He beat him to the door of death as just a move. It's just a way to show his power over a black man, because he's a white man now. He has all the power. It's all about power. It's about power and keeping them in line, keeping us in line so we don't revolt, so we don't do anything. He was doing this for no real reason. He really didn't have a reason other than because he can, because it's his property. The whole idea of it being your property stayed around for a very long time. Didn't go away, as I've been trying to get. This is one of the reasons why I keep trying to tell these stories, so that we can get rid of this idea that slavery was abolished with Abraham Lincoln. It was not. If you think about it, doesn't make sense. I mean, something so big and expansive. The government wasn't nearly as big then as it is now. They didn't have the FBI during this time. The FBI was created about 1910-ish. Maybe a little earlier than that, I believe, but about then. They didn't have any big federal sweeping thing to just investigate their own country. They weren't able to go that deep into like Alabama and Georgia and weed out this tyranny. They just didn't have the power to. It was mostly accountants who was doing this, or who were doing this, as well as a few lone heroes, honestly. Back to what the eyewitness said. He said that they brought him to, and then Gum Threat stripped him to the waist and took him into an old building, stretched him out and fastened his feet and hands wide apart. He was trying to humiliate him. He was trying to, again, show his power, show what he can do, show what he can inflict over a black man because he is a white man. Because of his skin color and because of his power in society, he can do this. He can strip him down, literally. He can literally strip him down to just his bare skin to torture him. He did. Then he took a live coal of fire as big as your hand and laid it in the back of his bare back. I remember seeing the scar there, and it was about 1/8 of an inch deep. He rested a piece of hot coal on his body just to see him suffer. They fastened his body so that he couldn't even move. He couldn't squirm. He couldn't fight back. There was nothing he could do than just sit there and take it. Sit there and take it as his skin and flesh and bone was being literally melted away by fire. And in the 20th century, and there's even stories sooner, such as in the 1960s, which I will be getting on a bit later. Stories like this in the 1960s. We probably have family who was alive during that time. It's not that long ago. It truly isn't. There's people still alive today that went through that. I believe one of the ladies, she died in 2014. I was alive while I was alive while a slave was alive. I'm only 18. I was alive when a legal slave who was held in the United States of America was also alive. And we're going to be so ignorant as to say that now it's just automatically gone too. What's changed? Nothing's changed but the seasons. why should we just assume that everything's good now, everything's better? What big sweeping things have we done in society to change it? Because the first thing you have to do is change the ideals. You have to change, because the laws, they can be coerced. They were coerced because the ideals and the beliefs of these people, they supported getting rid of the laws. They supported ignoring them and saying they don't matter. So we need to change the beliefs, and have the beliefs changed. Look around you. Have the beliefs changed. Look at Trump. Look at DeSantis. Look at that other lady who was saying that the Civil War wasn't fought over slavery. Are we really going to say the beliefs have changed? Nikki Haley, in order to keep her voters, had to say that the war wasn't fought over slavery. She probably knew that it was, but she could not say it. Because of her voters, because of what the public had in its beliefs, because of the beliefs the public has. This was like a couple days ago that this happened. That's why I was watching about it today. I learned about it earlier today. It's this recent. And we're going to say our beliefs have changed. The slavery also hasn't changed. It's not gotten rid of. They're still using the convict criminal title. Look at prisons. They're bigger now than they ever were. There's more prisoners now than there were slaves. And you were more likely to be raised by both parents during slave times than you are now. And we're going to say things have changed. No. We need to change things. We need to do better so that we can be better.